Have you ever felt like you're speaking a completely different language? When it comes to women, you say one thing, she hears another. You try to lead, she pulls back. You give space, she wants attention. It's almost like there are rules no one's ever told you, like you're walking into an invisible game blindfolded. Now imagine this, it's Rome, 180 AD. The greatest emperor-philosopher the world has ever known. Marcus Aurelius sits in quiet reflection. He doesn't shout, he doesn't chase, he doesn't beg, and yet he commands respect, love, and devotion, not through force, but through wisdom, through Stoicism. What if you could take that same ancient mindset and decode what modern women really respond to? Not the surface stuff, but the deeper, hidden weaknesses they rarely admit. Stay with me, because in this video, we're diving deep into 10 hidden female weaknesses every man should understand through the lens of Stoicism. Not to manipulate, not to control, but to connect better, to love better, and ultimately, to lead better. Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video, because this isn't your average dating tips channel. We break down the timeless wisdom that can transform not just your relationships, but your life. And watch till the end, because one of these 10 weaknesses, when understood, can instantly change the way women see you. All right, let's begin with Marcus himself. 1. The weakness for emotional leadership. Have you ever had a woman look at you with that mixture of anger, confusion, and disappointment, and you had no idea what you did wrong? Like you're sitting there thinking, what just happened? You thought everything was fine. You were even laughing 5 minutes ago. And suddenly, she's distant, cold, pulling away emotionally. If that's ever happened to you, you're not alone. In fact, if you're watching this video right now, chances are it's not just happened once. It's a pattern, a confusing, frustrating pattern. Now think back to the last woman you loved. Go on, close your eyes for a second if you have to. What was her name? Remember the way she looked at you that night you kissed her forehead? Or the way she smiled when you said something dumb but tried to be sweet? You remember that, don't you? Now tell me this, what made it fall apart? I'm not talking about surface reasons. I mean deep down. Was it because you tried to keep her happy and it never felt like enough? Or because you reacted emotionally when things got tense? Or maybe because you didn't know how to lead emotionally when the relationship needed it most? That's the first hidden female weakness most men miss. Women are deeply drawn to men who can lead emotionally, not dominate, not control, not silence her feelings, but lead calmly, steadily. It took me years to learn that. Years, and one woman I'll never forget. Her name was Emily. She was smart, passionate, beautiful, and emotionally wild. One minute we were laughing over coffee. The next she'd be crying because I said something the wrong way. I used to get so frustrated. I'd try to fix it, reason with her, sometimes even argue back, but it never worked. The more I chased emotional control, the more she pulled away. Until one day something changed. We were in her apartment. She was pacing, raising her voice, throwing out accusations I didn't understand. And for the first time, I didn't react. I didn't explain myself. I just stood there, looked her in the eyes, and said calmly, "We don't have to go to war every time we disagree." Silence. That room went still. She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Her body language softened. Her voice dropped. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. She didn't want me to match her chaos. She wanted me to lead her out of it. That's the secret. When a woman spirals emotionally, she's not testing your logic. She's testing your center. She wants to feel anchored, grounded, held, not always physically, but emotionally. And that's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." You don't need to win arguments. You don't need to fix her emotions. You need to be unshakable. That's emotional leadership. And deep down, even if she never says it out loud, that's what she's drawn to. Think about your own love story again. Would it have ended differently if you had shown up that way? 2. The weakness for purpose-driven men. Have you ever chased a woman so hard that you forgot who you were? Be honest. You texted first. You planned the dates. You cleared your schedule. You put her above everything, your goals, your habits, your friends, even your peace. Because you thought that's what love was supposed to be, right? But somewhere along the way, she lost interest. You ever wonder why? Now think about the woman who meant the most to you. The one you still think about late at night when the room's too quiet. What made her different? Was it the way she made you laugh? The way she saw through your walls? Or maybe the way you gave up everything just to keep her, and still somehow you lost her? I want to tell you a story, not from a book, not from some guru, from my own life. Her name was Alina. She was fire, ambitious. She'd light up a room just by walking in. When we met, I was focused. I had a vision for my life. I was building something, writing, training, growing. And you know what? She was drawn to that. She said, "I love the way you talk about your future." She admired my discipline, my schedule, the way I didn't bend for anyone. But then I fell. Not in love, falling in love is fine. But I fell out of myself. I started canceling gym sessions to see her, pushing off writing deadlines. I was available all the time. Every moment revolved around her. And little by little, her energy changed. She didn't smile the same way. She didn't lean in. She didn't crave me anymore. And one day over coffee, she said something I'll never forget. "You're not the same guy I met." That hit like a punch to the chest. And you know what? She was right. Because here's the truth women won't always tell you, but they feel it. A man without purpose starts to feel like a burden. It's not that she didn't love me. It's that I had lost what made me me. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." A woman's hidden weakness? A man so focused on his mission he doesn't chase love, he attracts it. Because when your purpose comes first, everything else finds its place. Let me ask you right now, are you living like the man she would admire? Are you moving through your days with fire in your chest and direction in your step? Or are you floating, waiting for her text to decide how you'll feel? You want love to work? Start with you. Build a life that's too full to be rearranged. And you'll be surprised how quickly the right woman wants to fit herself into it. Don't worry if this hit deep. That just means you're waking up. The next point? It's about how women respond to your calm, not your chaos. 3. The weakness for calm and chaos. Have you ever been in an argument with a woman you love? And the more emotional she got, the more you felt the need to match her energy. You raised your voice. You got defensive. Maybe you even said something you regret. And afterward, she looked at you differently. Not angry, not upset, just disappointed. Like something changed in her. Like something in her trust cracked. If that ever happened to you, this part of the story is for you. Because I've been there too. Her name was Tessa. She was beautiful in a quiet, thoughtful way. She had a mind like a storm, always questioning, analyzing, digging deeper. And her emotions? They came fast, strong, like waves crashing against the shore. At first I loved it. It made me feel alive, wanted, needed. But then the arguments started. They weren't over anything huge, just little misunderstandings, tone, timing. One day we were driving home, and out of nowhere she asked, "Why do you never open up first?" I didn't understand the question. I said something sarcastic. She snapped. I snapped back. Before I knew it, we were in a full-blown fight over nothing. And that became a pattern, until one evening, something changed. We were arguing in my apartment. She was pacing, upset, and her voice was rising. And for the first time, I didn't react. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't explain or defend. I just stood still. Let her speak. And when she stopped, I calmly said, "I'm not going to fight with you. I care too much to turn this into a war." She didn't say anything for a long moment. Then she sat down next to me, quiet, almost peaceful. And in that moment, I saw it, clear as day. She didn't want me to match her storm. She wanted me to hold it. That's the hidden truth most men never realize. Women are deeply drawn to a man who stays calm in chaos. Because calmness is safety. Calmness is strength. Calmness says, no matter how wild things get, I'm not going anywhere. And Marcus Aurelius knew this. In Meditations, he wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In other words, how you respond is everything. You see, most men try to fight chaos with more chaos. But the man who remains still, who breathes, listens, and doesn't let his ego take over, that man becomes unforgettable. So let me ask you, when your last relationship got messy, were you the calm in the storm? Or were you adding lightning to the thunder? Don't judge yourself. Just reflect. Because every woman has a hidden weakness for the man who can handle her emotional waves without drowning in them. You become the lighthouse. She can lose herself. and still find her way back to you. And in the next part, we'll explore why silence, not explaining, is the real secret to power. 4. The weakness for silent strength. Have you ever poured your soul out to a woman? Tried to explain yourself? Your feelings, your pain, hoping she'd understand. And somehow, the more you talked, the more distant she became. It's like the more words you used, the less she heard. And you were left thinking, I was being honest. I was being vulnerable. Why didn't it bring us closer? Now close your eyes for a moment. Think back to her. Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. The one who still shows up in your dreams. Maybe the one who called you strong, before she slowly stopped calling at all. What if I told you something nobody ever taught us as men? That sometimes strength speaks loudest in silence. Let me take you back to a moment in my life that changed everything. Her name was Layla. She was the kind of woman who felt everything deeply. She wanted to talk about everything. Why I was quiet. What I meant by a certain look, how I felt about us. And for the longest time, I thought the way to win her heart was through explanations. So I talked, I shared. I told her about my childhood, my insecurities, my fears. And at first it felt good. But slowly, something shifted. She started saying things like, "You're always in your head," or "Why do you sound unsure of everything?" One night, after one of our long talks, she looked at me and said, "I miss the way you used to make me feel safe before you started. Trying to make me understand everything." That one hit me like a punch in the chest. And that's when I realized what Marcus Aurelius knew all those years ago when he said, "Never explain yourself. Your friends don't need it, and your enemies won't believe it." What he meant wasn't arrogance. It was wisdom. You see, true strength doesn't always have to be spoken. Women have a weakness for silent strength, a man who doesn't overshare to get validation, who doesn't over-explain to be accepted, who doesn't beg to be understood. Because here's the truth. Your grounded presence will always speak louder than your words. And when a woman senses that your silence isn't cold but rooted in inner peace, it makes her feel safe in a way no long conversation ever could. So let me ask you now, in your last love story, were you a rock she could lean on, or a book she kept trying to finish reading? Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Let your energy speak. Let your stillness speak. Let your eyes, your actions, your decisions whisper the message, "I know who I am. I don't need to prove it." And when you live like that, she feels it, deep in her core, even in silence. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how mystery, not transparency, creates attraction. So don't go anywhere. Your next breakthrough is seconds away. If the weakness for mystery over transparency. Have you ever been told that honesty is everything in a relationship? That you should tell her everything, how you feel, what you're thinking, what you're going through. And did you do that? Did you open up every part of yourself, thinking it would bring you closer, only to watch her slowly lose interest? Let me take you back to a moment I'll never forget. Her name was Aria. She was the kind of woman who didn't fall for surface-level charm. She wanted depth, mystery, magic, and I thought the way to win her over was full transparency. So I told her everything. My dreams, my failures, my fears, my routine, my past. I thought being an open book would show her that I trusted her, that I was different. But slowly, something strange happened. She stopped asking questions. The spark dimmed. Her curiosity faded. And one evening after dinner, she looked me in the eye and said, "I feel like I already know everything about you." She didn't say it as a compliment. And that's when I learned something powerful, something no one tells us as men. Women have a hidden weakness for mystery, not secrets, not lies, but mystery, the quiet, magnetic energy of a man who doesn't feel the need to reveal everything. Because mystery invites imagination, curiosity, desire. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And when your soul is too visible, too transparent, too explained, it loses color. It loses edge. It loses the sense of discovery that women crave. Let me ask you something personal. Think back to your last love. Think about the early days, when she looked at you like you were a puzzle she couldn't wait to solve. When she leaned in during your silence, wanting to know what was behind that look, that smirk, that calm. Do you remember when she started pulling away? Was it after you laid everything bare? You see, women fall for the unknown just as much as they fall for the known. They want a man they can learn over time, not a man who empties his entire soul on the first few pages. A man who keeps part of himself sacred, guarded, not because he's hiding, but because he respects the power of mystery. That's what draws her in, keeps her thinking about you at night, wondering what's going on in that head of yours. So ask yourself now, in your story, were you the mystery that excited her, or the mirror that showed her everything too soon? You don't need to reveal every thought to be real. Let her earn access to your world. Let her wonder a little. That's where the attraction lives. The next point, it's about a hidden feminine weakness for men who protect their standards, not just their hearts. 6. The weakness for men who protect their standards. Have you ever lowered your standards just to keep a woman close? Maybe you let something slide that you knew didn't feel right. Maybe you tolerated a little disrespect, excused the emotional games, told yourself it's okay, nobody's perfect. I don't want to lose her. But deep down you felt it. Something inside you shrunk. You knew you were crossing your own line. Let's go back. Think about your love story, the one that still echoes through your memories late at night. The one where you were so afraid to lose her, you stopped standing up for you. I remember mine. Her name was Naya. She was fire, intelligent, fierce, stunning. The kind of woman you dream about for years before she ever shows up. When we started dating, I had boundaries, standards. I was clear on what I valued, how I wanted to be treated, what kind of energy I'd accept in my life. And at first, that attracted her. She told me, I've never met a man who has such strong values. It's sexy. But then came the tests, subtle at first. A little sarcasm that crossed the line. Ignoring something important, I said. Flirting in front of me just to see how I'd react. And instead of standing firm, I flinched. I let it slide. I said, it's not a big deal. But it was. I knew it was. And slowly, she stopped looking at me like a man she admired. She still liked me, but that look of deep respect, it faded. And I'll never forget the day I realized why. She said, I miss when you had a backbone. You were so sure of yourself in the beginning. That cut deep. But she was right. Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. And a good man, a Stoic man, doesn't bend his standards just to avoid conflict. He doesn't compromise his values to be liked. Because here's the truth women rarely admit out loud. They're drawn to men who protect their standards even if it means losing her. Not in an arrogant, rigid way, but in a grounded, noble way. A man who knows his worth. A man who doesn't tolerate disrespect, even from the person he loves. That's rare, and rare is irresistible. So let me ask you now, in your last relationship, did you enforce your standards or trade them for temporary peace? Did you lead with your values or follow her moods? If you lost her while standing strong, you didn't lose anything. But if you lost yourself trying to keep her, you lost everything. Don't do that again. She may not say it, but she feels it. She wants to feel your strength, your spine, your unwavering sense of self. Because when a man protects his standards, a woman sees someone she can trust with her heart. Next up, we're going to explore why a man who can walk away, not chase, triggers a feminine desire. Most men never understand. 7. The weakness for men who can walk away. Have you ever stayed in a relationship longer than you should have, not because it was right, but because you were afraid to lose her? Maybe it was the comfort, the history, the late-night texts, her laugh, her scent on your hoodie, or maybe, just maybe, it was the fear that if you walked away, you might never find that kind of connection again. But here's the truth we don't like to admit. If you're afraid to lose her, she's already losing respect for you. Let me take you back. Her name was Zoe. God, she was magnetic, wild, free, unpredictable. She could light up a room and silence it in the same breath. She had that spark, that energy that makes you forget every rule you ever lived by. In the beginning, I held my ground. I wasn't chasing. I wasn't pleading. I was centered, calm, present, and she loved that about me. But slowly, the dynamic shifted. She started pulling away, taking longer to reply, testing me, canceling plans last minute. I told myself, she's just stressed. I just need to be patient. But the more she pulled back, the more I chased. The more I chased, the more she slipped through my fingers. And one day I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back. I had become someone who was afraid to walk away, even when staying was breaking me. And that's when it hit me. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. And nothing proves that strength more than the ability to walk away from what doesn't honor you, even if your heart aches as you do it. Because here's the truth no one teaches us as men. Women have a deep instinctive weakness for a man who is willing to walk away, not out of ego, not out of spite, but from a place of self-worth. When a woman sees that you won't beg, won't chase, won't sacrifice your dignity for her affection, she may get angry, confused, even distant. But deep down, she respects you. Because she knows, if he's not afraid to lose me, then he's a man who values himself more than he values my approval. And that's rare. So let me ask you now, in your last relationship, were you the man who could walk away, or the man who stayed long after his soul wanted to leave? Did you hold the door open for your dignity, or did you close it to keep the comfort? It's not too late to become the man who walks away when needed, with peace, not pain. Because when you can walk away without fear, that's when the game changes. That's when she feels something deeper than attraction. She feels respect. And in the next point, we'll uncover why feminine energy melts around a man who leads, not asks for permission. 8. The weakness for men who lead, not ask for permission. Have you ever found yourself hesitating, waiting for her to decide where the relationship is going? Or maybe even asking her things like, is this okay with you? Do you think I should? And slowly, she started losing interest. You tried to be kind, respectful, accommodating, but in doing that, something changed. She stopped looking at you the same way. I want you to think back to her, that one love that still lingers in the corners of your heart. Remember how it started? Remember the fire? Her name was Lena in my story. God, she was radiant, confident. She had this playful spark in her eyes, like she was always waiting for life to surprise her. In the beginning, I led. I didn't ask, where do you want to eat? I'd say, be ready at 7, I've got a place in mind. I didn't say, are you okay with this pace? I made decisions and stayed grounded in them. She felt safe. She leaned into that leadership. But slowly, I started doubting myself. I began asking for approval. Do you think I should take this job? Do you want me to come over? Is it okay if I... And something in her changed. One night, while we were walking through the city, she looked at me and said, I don't want to lead everything. I want to feel like I can follow you. That hit me like a wave, and it reminded me of something Marcus Aurelius once wrote. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. Instead, be direct and take the reins of your own soul. You see, leadership isn't control. It's direction. It's clarity. It's energy. And women, especially feminine women, have a hidden weakness for a man who leads with confidence. Not with force, but with calm certainty. She doesn't want to feel like she's parenting you. She wants to feel like she can relax into your presence. That's when she opens up. That's when her feminine energy flows. Because now she trusts the current you're guiding her through. Let me ask you something. In your last love story, were you the man she could follow? Or the one she had to guide? Did you lead with vision or hesitate with insecurity? You don't need to have all the answers, but you do need to move with certainty. That's what creates polarity. That's what ignites desire. She doesn't want to always choose the direction. She wants to feel your direction. And when you lead with your chest forward, head high, and a soul that knows where it's going, she'll follow you. Not because she has to, but because she wants to. Stick around. In the next chapter, we'll uncover a powerful truth. Why women are drawn to men who don't react emotionally, no matter the storm. You're getting closer to becoming him. 9. The weakness for men who don't react emotionally. Have you ever been in a moment with her, maybe during a fight, or after she said something that hit a nerve and you snapped? Maybe you raised your voice. Maybe you got defensive. Maybe you said something you didn't mean, just to protect your pride. Now think back. What happened next? Did she pull closer? Or did something break that never fully came back? Let me take you into a moment I lived. Her name was Ava. We had something rare, real, electric, but also chaotic at times. She was emotional, spontaneous, expressive. I was calm on the surface, but underneath I was boiling. One night, she said something during a silly argument that felt like a dagger to my ego. She questioned my ambition in a moment of frustration, and I lost it. I let my pride speak instead of my presence. I told her off. I tried to dominate with volume, not groundedness. And for a few seconds, I saw fear in her eyes, but not the good kind. She didn't feel safe with me in that moment. And just like that, I watched respect leave her body. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That is the lesson most men miss, and that's the weakness most women will never admit. They are deeply drawn to men who don't react emotionally, especially when emotions run high. Now let's be clear, this doesn't mean being cold or shutting down. It means being stoic, not numb. A man who can stand firm while the emotional storm rages around him. That man becomes her anchor, her gravity, her safety. Because feminine energy, true feminine energy, wants to feel, to express, to test, to swirl. And when you meet that with grounded presence, not panic, something magical happens. She opens, she softens, she trusts. Let me ask you now, think about your last relationship. Do you remember a time she tested you, not out of cruelty, but to see if you'd hold your ground? And did you? Or did you react, defend, argue? You see, a woman doesn't want a man who matches her chaos. She wants a man who calms it, who doesn't flinch when she's fiery, who doesn't crumble when she's moody, who doesn't beg, rage, or prove, just stands, breathes, holds space. That's what makes her feel something most men can never give her. Emotional safety. And when she feels that, she can finally relax into her full feminine expression. She'll come closer. She'll respect you more. She'll admire your strength, because she's not afraid of your feelings. She's afraid of your reactions. And if you master this one thing, your love life will never be the same again. In the next and final point, we'll explore the ultimate feminine weakness. Why women are magnetically pulled toward men who are unavailable to drama but fully available to purpose. This last truth ties it all together. Stay with me. 10. The weakness for men who are unavailable to drama but fully available to purpose. Have you ever lost yourself in her chaos, her emotions, her needs, her mood swings, her highs and lows? You didn't even notice it at first, but slowly, your goals got quieter, your routine slipped, your vision blurred, and one day you looked up and wondered, where did the man I used to be go? I've been there, and maybe you have too. Her name was Mira. She was passion personified, bold, spontaneous. She brought color into my life, but she also brought storms, unexpected emotional waves that crashed into my plans, my peace, my focus. And I didn't want to lose her, so I started adjusting. I answered every call, even during my deep work. I skipped workouts to deal with emotional fires. I rearranged my life so hers could fit more comfortably inside it. And one day she said something I'll never forget. She looked at me and said, "You don't feel like the same man I fell in love with." That hit me harder than any argument we ever had. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." And I realized then, I had traded my purpose for her drama. I had become fully available to her chaos, and unavailable to my mission. That's when everything fell apart. But here's the paradox most men never understand. A woman will test you with drama to see if you'll drop your purpose for her. But the moment you do, she loses respect. You see, feminine energy loves a man on fire for something bigger than her. She wants to feel chosen, yes. Loved, yes. But above all, she wants to know you are a man guided by something greater. Because if you can be pulled away from your purpose by drama, you were never rooted in it to begin with. Let me ask you now, think about the love that slipped through your fingers. Can you see the moment when you started making her your mission? When your purpose started dimming just to make space for her storms? You were never meant to fix her moods. You were meant to hold your ground. You were meant to be fully available to your purpose, and that strength, that clarity, that unwavering direction, that's what calls her back to you. That's what ignites her admiration. That's what makes her feel, I'm with a man who knows exactly who he is. Because drama fades, emotions shift. But purpose? Purpose is immortal. So don't chase the storm. Build your foundation. Don't trade your mission for affection. When you're unavailable to drama, but unshakably available to your vision, your mission, your path, that's when she leans in. Not because you're obsessed with her, but because you're obsessed with your becoming. And that is a man she'll never want to walk away from. Closing story, the Roman mirror. Imagine a Roman soldier staring into a pool of water.
He doesn't chase the ripples.
He waits for the reflection to still. Only then does he see clearly. That's what Stoicism teaches. That's what Marcus Aurelius lived. And that's what modern men, you can embody. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.